Hey guys, this is Dan from learningcameras.com, and here I have the brand new Sigma 30mm f1.4. Now, I just picked up this lens. It's a very nice lens. It's only for crop frame sensor cameras though, but if you have something like a Canon 7D or a Nikon D50 7100 or 5200, something like that, this lens is going to be great for you. Open to f1.4. That's way better than Canon or Nikon is doing with their 35mm. Now, neither Canon or Nikon have a 30mm, but this 30mm is going to get you really close to that 50mm lens if you were to calculate the equivalent on a full frame camera. So very, very nice lens to work with. You know, I'm super excited about this because I do have the 35mm Sigma f1.4, and I must say this is one of the best lenses I've ever used. So sharp, looks so nice, it's just built so well. So when I got the 30mm, honestly, it's almost like a mini of the 35. It really feels great. It's not nearly as heavy, much smaller, much lighter, more compact. Although the only thing I will say is that the filter, or not the filter, but the lens hood is very large on there, and it's not that kind of flower petal design. It's all around. So the nice thing is you can set it on a counter and leave it there like this, and the lens won't get damaged. So overall, feels great. Nice looking lens. Now, one thing that's interesting is the actual glass on the front is very small, but the front element is, the entire front is not. So, you know, I think it's a 62mm thread, so that's not too small at all, but the actual piece of glass in the front is very small. So the good thing is you probably won't beat that up against something. It's going to be a little more difficult to damage. The lens cap, typical Sigma, pinch design, very nice. Very easy to get to, even with the hood. So overall build quality is very nice. Just to give you a little comparison too, this is a Canon 85. It's a little bit bigger. So this is really, this is the Canon 85 1.8. And so non-L lens. It's about the same price, just a little bit less than the Sigma is. And you're gonna get an f1.4 on this. So I think the Nikon version of a 35mm is going to be an f1.8. The Canon is an f2. Neither one of them gets anywhere close to this as far as build quality goes. Neither one of them are going to open up to f1.4. So let's take a look at some of the results and see how this lens holds up at f1.4 to see if it's worth shooting at that. Now, sharpness is going to be our first test, and I'm happy to say, man, this Sigma is so good at f1.4. Really nice. Taking a look at the results, even 100% crop at f1.4 looks great. You're going to see a bit of improvement as we move up to f2, but very nice overall. When we get up to f2.8, a tiny bit more improvement. But when we move up to f4, the differences are very slight. So you seem to reach a very nice resolution at f2.8. Looks great. Even comparing that to the 35mm, this shot's at f2. The 35mm is going to look very similar at f2 to the 30mm at f2. So very, very good results on the sharpness. Definitely happy with what I'm able to get with the lens. For 500 bucks, very nice sharp results. Now, when we take a look at vignetting, I must say that it's not one of the biggest issues because you can take it out in post, but it's nice to see a lens that you don't have to correct every image. At f1.4, we are seeing it. It does get a little darker around the edges, even closer to the center, but at f2, things disappear. Literally, it looks the same as f2 at f2 as it does at f2.8 at f4. All the same. So by f2, things are gone. That is unbelievable. I never see that on these types of lenses. Most of the Canon lenses that are starting at f2 still show vignetting at f4. So it's nice to see that on this lens. Almost not even having to worry about that. You can not use lens correction if you want. You can use it. Not needed on anything f2 and over. I did try to see if I could introduce some flare on this lens. Nothing at all. I took a couple pictures, tried to get it into the corners on the sun. I was not able to make this lens hiccup at all. I was using it without the hood too, just to see if I can really get it to flare out. Nothing much, so I think you're going to be very happy with the results on this lens. Maybe in a slight situation you might get a little bit in there, but I really was not able to get any in my test shots. Now, autofocus speed is a very big one, especially when using these third-party lenses. So once again, this is being tested on the Canon 7D, which is a crop sensor camera that I have, and the results are very good. Not the fastest lens that I use. It seemed to get very close, and then it had a little bit of hesitation at the end before it took the picture. So it seemed to focus really quick, but then it had a little hesitation before snapping the picture. Now, this is kind of an unprecise test, but the results have been very consistent for me. I go ahead and focus the lens at infinity, set up a target very close to the camera. This one's about at 18 inches away. And we wait till the timer goes from 0 to 5 seconds, and at 5 seconds I try to snap that picture, see how long it takes for my camera to focus, for the lens to focus from infinity all the way, and take that picture and make sure that it's sharp and in focus. All of my results very consistent, everything was sharp. My focus time, this is from infinity to about 18 inches, so really a worst case scenario. You're talking about 0.7 seconds was my average shooting that. Overall very quick. Nice to see on that one. I mean, you can get faster when you use some of the Canon USM lenses or some of the Nikon ones with their high-speed motors in there, but nothing in this price range is really going to get you that quick. And at a 35mm lens, you're not really shooting anything that quick moving towards you. Now, I did test that as well, so on continuous focus, I had my daughter run at me as fast as she can. She's pretty quick. It held focus on all shots. Really, everything was very sharp, no problems at all. The lens was able to keep up with her running all the way up to about 5 feet in front of me. So nice to see good focus results on that from a third-party lens. Now, another thing that's very concerning on these third-party lenses too is how the bokeh looks. On some of them, especially on some Sigmas and Tamarons, we've gotten kind of a more ugly onion-looking bokeh. I do have it a little bit on the Canon 24, or actually the Tamaron 24 to 70 f2.8 that I use a lot. But on this lens, everything looks pretty good. Everything is very smooth, no problems at all. I'm seeing very nice looking bokeh in the out of focus areas. Everything's very buttery smooth, even looking in at 100%. I'm really not seeing any of those concentric rings that we see sometimes in those lenses. So everything looks very nice. So overall, I must say, I'm really loving the Sigma 30mm. If you have a crop sensor camera and don't mind sticking with a crop sensor lens, for $500, the results are incredible, super sharp. Everything about it is very nice. Focusing is still fast, even though you're going with a third-party lens. I do think that the Sigmas, this series, is going to go up in value. Especially, not up in value, but it's going to maintain its value for quite a long time, especially because of the success of the 35mm f1.4. It's really been proving to be a phenomenal lens, so I think that you're going to like this a lot. Now, as far as your minimum focusing distance is only about 11.8 inches, so you're only getting 0.15x on a magnification. Not that great for close-up shots, but if you get yourself a nice macro lens and then keep things a little bit further away from the Sigma, overall things just look great with the lens. It's also a nice looking lens, which it helps, and it's not too heavy and not too large that you're really going to be in pain carrying this around for a while. So overall, a very nice lens if you don't mind getting a lens for a crop sensor camera. And at f1.4, things are just looking good, and nothing else on the market really gets at f1.4 in a 30-35mm lens range without moving up into those upper level in prices. So check out the website learningcameras.com. In the review post on that, I'm going to put some of the images that I took from this so you guys can see some of the sharpness tests and some of the results from that. Now, if you take a look at that site as well, we do have some links for this lens. I appreciate you using it. It kind of helps keep these going. So take a look at that, learningcameras.com, and enjoy using this lens.